Hey guys, great evening, great evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Or I guess I could say late afternoon. Ha 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 ha. Come on in, come on in. It's another marriage temperature check with A2H. We are live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So we did a couple of videos, what, the last week or two, introducing this, and then we had a good discussion last week, but we wanted to come back in and chat with you again, just trying to keep this at the forefront. So I'm going to ask you guys, when you come in, please, you can tag individuals directly into this live feed on Facebook, and then also you can like, love, share. You can share this out on your own timeline, and just let individuals know that we're on. Um, I have no idea what we're going to talk about today. As he laughs. I am Annette Harris. I'm so sorry. Many of you know me. And of course, this is my husband, Anthony Harris.
Anthony
And
Harris.
yes, yes, yes. And I'm so excited that we're doing this we're on this particular journey. And, we'll see, where God takes us with this. But again, this is just a new venture, if you will, talking about marriage. Now, I think I mentioned this the other week. If anyone knows anything about my husband, he was not necessarily a social media person. And but here we are. The power of the woman no, I'm just kidding. Um
All right, all right.
I mean, in a good way. I mean that in a good way. I really do. Sometimes we can influence and encourage our husbands to engage with us on different things. But hey guys, yeah, come on in. We want to talk. We want to kind of chat. It's not like we're going to be here long, but we want to engage with you. So if you have comments or questions, or in whatever the discussion is today with marriage temperature check, then
Oh,
you
yeah,
can.
we have a really good question we want to put to you all today. Really, really good.
Ooh, now I told y'all I have no clue what he's going to say sometimes. But one thing, I trust my husband and I trust the God that's in him. So when he says God gave me something, to talk about, and he wants to focus on certain things, I may ask, then I may not. And even when I ask, it's not always that I'm gonna get an answer, before. But it's okay because I can be surprised along with everyone else. But again, I do trust what God is doing through him. Oh goodness, I don't know what happened to his camera. Dear, where did you go? Something happened to his camera. We're gonna get him back on. um Dear, I don't know if you can hear me, but I don't see or hear you. So you may have to, um, reboot. I have no clue. Or you need to go out and come back in. Hey guys, well, we're trying to get that together. I don't like dead air. So any marriage questions or subjects that you maybe want to touch on or talk about, or want to ask, or we can engage with. Again, we're not licensed professional marriage counselors, but we are here to engage with you. And prayerfully, the marriage, when we're talking about marriage and relationships in that respect, that it will help with other relationships as well. So, we like to, kind of open that up, because we know that everybody's not married, but we're focusing on this right now. So, dear, you're back. I'm not sure what happened with your camera and
Yeah,
your
technical
audio.
glitch.
A little glitch. Okay. All right. So, what we're talking about today?
Okay, let's go to the beginning.
Ooh,
Let's start at the beginning.
beginning when we met, or beginning?
Let's start at the beginning. Genesis.
Okay. All
All
right.
right. And we're going to start off, and then we're going to get to my question after. But we're
Okay.
going to start off with your statement. Why? Something you said that triggered this. And this is a question for everyone that's listening. Why do you think the serpent never approached Adam?
Ooh.
Never. There's not one scripture where he whispered, he didn't do anything. Why did
Oh
he
my
approach?
goodness. Okay, so
And
that's the question on the floor. Why do we think the
the
serpent
serpent
never approached Adam? Adam, excuse
never,
me.
never.
Hmm. Hmm. I'm typing this question in the comment section so that when people come in, they can see it. Um, do I have to answer?
No. I'll answer. I'm just putting it out there for food for thought right now.
Okay. I have
And
thoughts on it though.
well, if you want to share your thoughts.
Oh man. And I think I've heard this before. So why do I think the serpent never approached Adam? Um, um, well, I'm not going to say that. Well, I guess I could say that. Forgive me for how this comes out, but because the man probably wouldn't have listened.
I totally agree with that statement.
The man Adam probably wouldn't have listened. And we women, we always listen. Oh goodness. So you thought, oh, you agree with
Well,
that?
well, well, I do agree with that. That's not what I was going to say, but I agree with that. But I heard someone say this, and what they said is the serpent knew that the woman had the power to persuade.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
The serpent knew she can get him to do it. I may can't, but she can.
She can. Oh, we. Okay. But that coincides with what I said though.
Well, okay, but
Do you not agree?
I'm not saying that was wrong.
Uh-huh.
He listened to Eve though.
Well, interesting. Okay.
He listened to Eve.
You're talking about at the point when she was telling him to eat of
Yes.
the fruit?
Hmm.
Okay. All right.
All right. Now, but
I
let's
have
let
so many more thoughts, but I'm gonna let you pull this out.
okay. No, that's you can go ahead with any additional thoughts on this one.
That's probably one time that he listened. I'm just kidding.
And that was the one time he shouldn't have.
Right. So is that why he don't listen now? Because he shouldn't have listened then? No, I'm
I
just
can't speak for everybody.
Oh, I am cracking myself up tonight. Lord have mercy. Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead.
All right, now this is the real question, and I'm this is not what God gave me back then. This is fresh. This is fresh, 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 fresh.
Okay.
Now, everyone, now we believe that the Father is all knowing, almighty, all everything. We believe
Mm-hmm.
He made the heaven and the earth and all that good stuff, the animals and this and that. He made uh, he made male and female. The Bible tells us he made male and female of every kind and every species. He told them to be fruitful and be multiplied.
Yep.
In the book, what was the last thing that God had created? He created Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Then he said it's not good for man to be alone.
True.
Then you read some more, and then he gets to the creation of Eve. Now, we know the Father knew about reproduction because he's the one that made it. How come he just didn't make male and female of humans, just like he did with everything else? Why was Eve completely separated from her creation as opposed to any other female of anything created? Why was Eve's creation so unique? Because it was like a separate spin-off creation in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
True? I
Yeah.
mean, you go through the step, he made this, he made that, he made that, he made that. But when you drill down to the details, he made Adam, he named the garden, he named the animals, he was a garden keeper, gave him a job, all that. Then he came back and made Eve.
But he made her out of, I mean, pulled the rib from the man. So I think he still wanted there to be that unity.
True.
Um,
Well, why didn't he do that right away? Form man out of the dust of ground. Boom, I got a man. Now let's take a rib, and now they have each other from the start, like everything else he made.
that's a good
Why?
question. I don't know.
Why? Why?
I could venture to guess, but I'm not.
And I'm not saying I have the answer.
Right.
I told you that
Oh,
was brand new.
okay. Why did he make her last?
Not
Basically,
only make her last, but made her creation completely separate
separate
from
and
Adam.
different.
Separate from Adam. Like the male cow and the female cow, the cow was made in once. The male horse and the female horse was made at once. The human, the male man and the male woman were not made at once.
And they were all, and they were also made differently, though.
They were made differently on top of not being made at once.
Right. Because he was made from the dust of the ground, but she was made from his rib.
100% correct.
I feel a little smart right now. I'm just kidding.
So that's what is that? Now, like I said, I do not claim to have the answer,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously, what this is saying, even though the woman came from the man, there's something unique about the human woman as opposed to any other female species.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay. You're thinking.
No, no, I'm waiting for any questions or answers or any responses.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, no, you can keep on going. This is definitely something to make you think. Not necessarily knowing if we have the answer to it. I mean, but it's something to kind of get your mind thinking about why. I mean, of course, our minds are finite, so we're not going to, we're not going to be like Christ with his infinite mind, knowing why he put, you know, I guess the deep details of why he put some things in order, um, unless he reveals it to us.
Well, let me play around with this.
Okay.
Let me play around with this. And I do mean play around with this. When God made, when God gave free will choice, he gave free will choice to everything. Cows, birds, dogs, everything has free will choice. When he made the angels, the seraphims, the cherubims, he gave them free will choice.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you give free will choice, you know automatically someone is not going to disagree with you. Someone is not going to agree with you. So he knew Lucifer or somebody was going to rebel. When he gave man and women and humans free will choice, he knew that at some point they would not agree with him. That's what free will is. Free
Right.
will means at some point they will not agree with you. That's free will.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like he put an explanation point on it when he made woman. She's not going to be made in the same fell swoop, just like everybody else. She's going to be from you, but she is going to be different.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Um, we are different. We are special as women, as wives, as the
So,
female. Go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say it's the female part of that relationship. We are very special.
Oh, yes, yes. And that's the reason why, and this is one of the biggest problem with humans. Humans always want to control,
Mm,
whether it be nation, whether it be world conflicts, whether it be mayors, whether it be governors, whether it be religious leaders. People always want to exercise control over another person or people or a group of people.
yeah.
And the marriage is the starting point. It's a thing of, okay, this is a free will person. This person doesn't agree with me. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to handle that?
Mm, okay. Okay. Keep going. My mind is going.
Because a lot of times people get to their various techniques of control. Some people play mind games, some people play physical bullying games, all different type of things. But all of it's invariably trying to garner control.
Ooh, that's deep. So when you look at marriage, is that what's happening within marriages? Is that what you're saying?
That's a big part of a lot of things. That's a big part is one or both. I can't get him to do, she won't do what? Control.
Mm, that's deep. And I will say this. Yeah, I do believe that that is part of a marriage. That's, sometimes what people kind of run into or thinking of. Um, and I'm not necessarily saying that it's done directly, sometimes indirectly, sometimes subconsciously. Or it could be their particular, the way that they are, you know, their mannerisms, their behavior, their characteristics that make them up. That's probably what they do in general. You know what I mean? Is try to take control of a situation. And that could be for various reasons, whether they were pushed into it, they had to take control because maybe some things were falling apart. And I'm not just talking about in marriage, I just mean general, in their life. um, or it could be the result of what they've experienced. Maybe
Right.
some things got out of control and they felt they had to, you know what I'm saying, grab the controls back.
And some of that may be constructive and some of that be helpful. And I'm not saying someone shouldn't be in control. I'm not saying that. But a lot of the clashing is a
Hmm.
struggle for control, one way or the other.
Yeah, and I think in a marriage that's something that we see, but we need to be careful of. Um, and we have to understand that we're two different people that come together, right? You're different, I'm different. Whether it is how you were brought up or what have, we're just two different people in general. So then we're going to bring in two different aspects, backgrounds into this marriage. And if we're used to a certain way, things being a certain way, then we go into that marriage and we're still looking for it to be that particular way. And so then comes in that control aspect that you were talking about. It's like, okay, so how do I get this to be what I'm used to so that I can function?
And you just said a good word. How do I get it to be something I am
Ooh,
used to?
okay.
And what I want might not be the best thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Change might be for the better.
Yeah. Mm. Mm. So then we talked about what the last time we talked about maturity, that maturity level being there, because that's what's going to uh that's what you really kind of have to look at. Am I mature enough to realize that, basically, in so many words, I can't have it the way, my way, or the way that I'm used to. I need to realize, I need to be mature enough to know that when I come together with this person, in a marriage, in this relationship, that there needs to be compromise so that even that conversation can change from what I want to what we want. So, I mean, and it's not always easy to get to. Trust me. Trust me. I see. Let me make this mention. Desiree, I see you over here on Instagram. If you're still there, yes, you can ask a question. You can throw it into the comment section over on Instagram, or wherever you're watching from. But I did see your request, so you can ask a question.
Yes, please.
Um, Go ahead.
No, I was talking about the question.
Oh, okay. So whatever, if she is able to type that in, we will more than um, be willing to read that and to see if we can address that together. Um, but yeah, this is kind of deep. You know what I'm saying? I'll never. I want to throw this in. You may or may not remember this. When prior to us getting married, I remember. I remember one of my relatives, was an older relative, that came to me and they said, you have to, prior to, us getting married, saying, okay, they wanted me to understand that going into this marriage, and they literally said, you can't have things your way all the time. And I almost kind of took offense to it. I'm not going to tell no story. I look, what you mean? But I think they were looking at it in a sense because I'm the youngest in my family and I'm kind of used to getting things my way, prior to marriage. And, you know, that was, that was kind of smart on their part to tell me that. That way I wouldn't go in with these rose colored glasses and just thinking, okay, I'm going to march up in here and I'm going to do, and I'm going to get my way. So, that's basically what they were telling me in so many words. Don't think that you're always going to get your way. Now, um, So I had to mature and get to the point in understanding um, that things are not always going to work like I wanted to. Um, but go ahead. I see your
Well,
hand.
even on the other side of the coin,
Yeah.
if you are the male and or you're the spouse and your spouse want to do something and you know that it might not be for the betterment, I do not care even if you are correct. You still have to know how to handle it.
That's good. That's good. And as I stated before, it's not always easy to do that. And I'm just going to be honest with you. You know, especially if you've been in a certain uh, way or spot for so long, you have sometimes, whether an individual has become a widow or a divorcee after so long, or they haven't been married and they've been doing things their way, you know, living their life single without a spouse, without that partner. And then when a partner does come into the picture, it's like you kind of have to do a lot of reprogramming. That's if you want that to work, because it's not going to, there's no, what they say, there's no I in team.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be understanding of the fact that, you know not, if I can use this word, not dumbing yourself down, but humbling yourself down.
Right, because that's one of the biggest um, things, and they've done several surveys, and they say that children, all children's, 92, 97% of children's in their youth are born geniuses.
Mm,
As they get older, the genius is taught out of them.
whoa.
What is taught out of you? You get taught not to dream. You get taught to face reality. You get taught to limit yourself.
Ooh.
Whereas a child can just dream and play and have fun and dream about some anything and just feel free. That's unfortunately taught out of a lot of people. And that's what Jesus is saying. That's the basis of faith. Believe God for anything, dream.
Wow.
And unfortunately, some situations can be so hard in a marriage or
Yeah.
at a workplace. People just give up on their dreams, give up on their hopes, just give up.
Yeah. Well, that fits, what I just said about not dumbing down, but humbling down. And, because you don't want to lose yourself. You're an individual. Okay. Yes, you will come together, if you, God bless you to get married or be in a relationship, you're going to come together with someone else, but you don't want to lose yourself, but you also don't want to, um, uh, try to, we talked about that control, have that be, you know, the what you focus on, and that's all you're doing is just trying to control that person and that relationship, because that's not, you're going to be bumping heads. It's not going to work. I promise you it's not going to work. Let me read this comment from Apostle Miles. Oh, I appreciate you for coming in. She says it's not easy to do that, but we have to make sure we're not talking at one another. I totally agree with that.
100%.
That's deep.
Let's, let's,
you
let's,
know
let's dive into that.
okay, okay.
And I welcome Apostle to jump in. How do individuals make sure they are not talking at each other?
Wow. That's loaded. That's a loaded statement from her and a loaded question. Um, I mean, you guys can engage with us. Please engage with us. But, talking at one, and see that, I think that there's so much you can, look at to try and address that. But we have to first understand that that is an individual that you're dealing with. Okay. It's not, you don't want to disregard them as being a human being first and foremost. So you want to you want to make sure that you are respecting them. Um, you should be respecting yourself as well. Um, but I think if you respect yourself, you will respect them. You should. What are you gonna say?
I really like the second commandment that Jesus gave. They asked the religious rulers asked Jesus what was the greatest commandment. Jesus gave them two for the price of one. Jesus said to love the Lord thy God, Jehovah thy God, with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and all thy might,
Yeah.
which is in Deuteronomy 6, chapter 4, verse. But then Jesus gave them two for the price of one. He said, but the second one is just like the first one. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. But, you go back and read that in Leviticus 19 and 18, it's way deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And in Hebrew, they will often quote one part of the verse referring to you to go back and get the whole thing. That verse starts out, don't bear a grudge
Yeah.
against your neighbor. Because if you are holding something, you cannot love them. Because you are always thinking about what they did to me, or what they should get, or they should this, or they should that, or they. And
Right.
love is impossible at that point.
Mm.
And then that love thy neighbor as thyself, that's that's another two for one. He first implies you have to love yourself
Yeah.
before you can give out love.
That's true.
You can't give out love and you full of I'm nothing, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the lowest thing on creation. How can you
Yeah.
give love?
Yeah.
And sometimes so many people are in that struggle.
Mm.
Um, I got that they against me, and they this, and they this, and they that, and they magnify the situation greater than the unlimited power of the Father.
Woo.
They all the time exalt the problem instead of exalting Jesus.
Yeah. Mm. Okay. And that I believe that's a trick of the enemy, definitely. Um, to focus more on that situation, as opposed to looking at God and what he can do and how he can even help you deal with that situation. You're magnifying the the enemy and what's going on with him than we are Christ. Um, Comment Apostle Miles says we respect one another to allow each person to share what's on their mind. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good comment. Dr. Hill, thanks for coming in. We appreciate you. She says, listen more than you talk. Listen with godly intent. Come on now.
Yeah,
These mothers are coming on here to giving some stuff now. I love it. That's so true.
yeah. He called the old because they know the way.
Yes. Yeah. So we have to put on how they do it when we were in kindergarten or daycare or whatever. Put on your ears. Make sure you listen,
And
Uh,
and
but
what that is, put on your ears and listen and let that force field down.
yeah.
That self-defense. That
Yeah.
that I got it. I'm in a fight.
Yeah, or that I already know type and I don't have to listen. That needs to be shot down too because we don't know the answer to everything. I mean, God is going to, he's going to help us by maybe even like through the comments here or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So he will provide that, but then I really like that. Listen with godly intent. I like that. Listen more than you talk. Apostle Miles also said, and I didn't know this. She said she wrote a book on missing links in marriage. The no problem. The problem in our marriage was like of how to communicate, or lack of how to communicate. I believe that's what she was trying to say. It was not love, she goes on to say, but communication. Okay. I did not know you wrote a book on that. That's good stuff. Thanks for sharing that information.
Yes, that is
Um,
good.
yeah, definitely, definitely. But yeah, so it and I know I've said this a couple times, and I'll probably continue to say it's not always easy to do, but it's like what we have to learn. We have to again mature into to figure out how to move forward, because I think you know me, babe. I'm always talking about communicating. I'm always talking about asking questions, and that has to be key. That has to be at the forefront. There's no way around that. Um, and then that will communication, I believe, is going to be important, like Apostle Mal said earlier, about so we won't be talking at one another. Um, we'll be in a communication. We'll be in a conversation, with our spouse, with our mate, and respecting what they have to say as well. That's that's something to think about.
Hmm.
Um, hmm. How do we get to this though? How do we get to the point of listening more than we talk? I mean, we can say all day long that this is what we need to do, but how do we get to this point? How do we get to listening with godly intent? And this is on both sides. Um,
One thing I found, at least one thing about the Father will always give you an assignment that you can't fulfill.
hmm,
He will always give you something too big for you because he wants to do it with you.
okay.
Now, and I found with me, when I go to him and just be honest, hey God, whoa, that's a big one, God, that's a big one. I can't, I need help with that. What you was talking about earlier, humbling yourself. I
Yeah.
just come to him straight. God, wait, man, I got to, I need work on that area.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you ask him honestly enough, and you may have to ask him more than one time, you may have to ask it over until that thing. But coming to him for help, he
Hmm.
loves it. He's a dad. He likes to help play with his children.
Yeah.
But we have to go to him for that help because, come on, love your enemy. Come on, can you do that? Come on, let's be real. Come on, be real.
Successfully do that.
You need God's help to love your enemy.
Yeah. So you won't be like the Dow. Remember Pastor Adams used to say, be like the Dow. Aaron just go, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And then just the Dow was just saying words,
Right,
right?
right.
So you really have to get to that point where you understand that. Hey, here's some I asked the question of how do we get to the point of listening more than we talk and listening with godly intent. Here's some responses. Apostle Miles says praying together helps.
Exactly.
I like that. Um, we mentioned about the marriage retreat that we went on last month. Was it last month? Oh, April. Well, we went to this year. And they talked about praying together every day would help. Now, we have our busy schedules and our busy lives. We have this at this hour, that at that hour, that at that hour. So it's like we have to find um, a time that will work where we can pray together. And it's not like we have to do a knock down, drag out, be in there for 5 hours, together. We have, of course, you have your own personal devotion with God, but then in a marriage, in that home, we need to be praying together as well. And that's a work in progress. But sometimes uh Yeah, my husband be on his own personal devotion for so long. It's all good. We get a chance to pray together. Apostle Miles says, acknowledge God in your marriage. I would agree. You know, it, and let me read her other comment. I'm going to say something else. She says, never take the honey out the moon. I like that, Apostle Miles.
Yes, yes.
I mean, because there you shouldn't, that it shouldn't go anywhere. Um, dear, I don't know what happened to your camera. I don't know if it's just me, but your camera's going off now. But never take the honey out the moon. I think that's so important because um you can get to a point where you're just continuing to go through the motions. You've been together for so long, been married for so long, and and you just kind of get used to it. You know what I mean? But I think that there needs to be that spontaneous, you know, moments or time away or spontaneous kiss or whatever, trying to make sure you don't take the honey out the moon. You know what I mean? Do something that sparking. I know a lot of couples, they make sure that they have date nights or date days or whatever you want to call it, or getaways. They're always making sure that it's actually scheduled,
Right,
whether it is, you know, once a week. I mean, everybody else is shut out and it's just that husband and wife, or that, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's definitely important. I trust me, it is, because you have so much, on both sides coming at both the husband and the wife, where they need to be able to come home, and that home needs to be an oasis for both of them, and they still need to be able to enjoy each other together. Um, so I think I like that. Never take the honey out your moon. Dr. Hill
yes.
says, understanding in a conversation, there is what you said, what you meant, what was heard, and the enemy's whispering in between. Listen for the voice of the enemy and cast it down. You preaching tonight. I
Yeah,
like that. What you said, what you meant, what was heard, and the enemy's whispering in between. Yeah. You've often heard me say this, in our relationship, that conversation has to be, you have to be so careful, because what I give out may not be what you've received, and vice versa. And you're like, well, you said such a, well, no, I didn't say that, but that's how that person took it. And so we have to be careful. And I believe that's probably that the enemy's whispering in between.
hmm
Oh no, she said this. Oh no, he said that. That is not what I said. And you're kind of like trying to figure this out, exactly what was actually said. Um, but yeah, we have to be really, really careful. I think our conversation needs to be um transparent. Think it needs to be, I mean, hey, you've been married, you married this person, so what you had, and we shouldn't have to hide anything in our conversation.
right.
Um, Apostle Miles says, do things together, some fun things together. Go on a picnic. You can have a picnic right in your home. That is so true. That is very true.
Yes.
Because it doesn't always, and you said this, honey, we don't always have to spend money, you know.
hmm
And if y'all know my husband, y'all about know why he said, no, I'm just kidding. I have a nickname for him, but we're not going to go. What were you going to say?
Oh no, I was just letting you talk.
Yeah. No, No, but it's true. I mean, we don't always have to spend money. We can do some creative things. We can go for a drive. We can, go sit out in a park or something like that.
Bike ride.
Um, what'd you say?
Bike ride.
Oh Lord. Y'all know my husband is an avid bike rider. He's a bike rider. He rides his bike. Um, and Annette, I've gotten out there. Maybe I can probably count on my hand number of times in our marriage. But I respect that. That is his outlet. That's his exercise. That is his way to go out and enjoy nature, which is fine. I've just never acclimated to it as he has.
And that's okay.
Thank you, dear. um, yeah, yeah. So we have to find creative ways, though, um, to do these things to make sure that um, our marriage is not falling by the wayside or falling apart. You know, like a building or something. So we have to continue to work on it. Did you want to add to that or say something else?
I think that about wrap it up for now.
Okay.
That's about it. It's more to come.
Yeah, definitely more to come. But yeah, so guys, we will come to you or before you with our sessions on marriage temperature check. We'll at least try and do it. Um, hopefully you'll hear from us weekly. That is the aim. And I just want to, it's not we're not coming to you preaching, or anything like that. I don't want you to think this is like a church service, because it's not. It's just like a down to earth, kind of talking about marriage and the temperature of it, because the temperature could change day by day. It can change second by second. um, but how do you adjust to those changes? What do you do when those changes come about? This is what really the purpose of this is, and to try and address it. Um, I never did get that question from over on Instagram, so I don't know if they'll want to ask it later. Let me read this comment and then we're going to wrap this up. Apostle Miles says, my husband had a business rehabbing housing. Many times she went with him and it was enjoyable. He showed her what to do, and that was, oh, she said that was romantic. Oh, that was sweet. Okay. And see, I like that. And that's actually good teaching too, because while it may not have been her thing, she still went with him. He showed her what to do. And that was romantic to her. So I like that. That's good advice. Um, I'll make it back out on the bike with him. We even talked about it not too long ago, didn't we, dear?
Yes, we talked about it.
Yes. So maybe I'll be back out there with him soon. All right. This has been great. I thank you guys for joining us. So like I said, we'll try to come to you at least, I want you to see us weekly. And, we're getting some more things together with this to be out on other platforms. So pray for us in that respect. And as we go, as God leads, we still need your prayers. And
100%.
What'd you say?
100%.
100%. Okay. Okay. You supposed to be doing something right now, right?
I do.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I forgot.
You forgot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
Oh, oh.
my husband is so funny. Dr. Hill says this is good. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Mwah. Thank you. All right. So I believe that's going to be our sign off. We're going to try and make that our sign off. And you know what? Now sometimes we may not have like these conversations where it's all uh, peaches and cream and roses on the ground. But we're going to deal with reality. And so, but we still want to end with that kiss. So thank you, dear, for my kiss. Again, thank you guys. I appreciate you. We're going to get out of here, and you should see us soon. If you have any questions or comments and you want to something maybe you want us to address, or you may not have wanted to ask it on the air, please feel free to email us. If you can see um, at the bottom of our names, we have our email address, mtc with aa at gmail. So you can email us. I'm going to put it in the comments section too. mtc with aa at gmail.com. We will definitely respond to you and address anything that you maybe didn't get a chance to ask us or didn't feel comfortable maybe on the air. This is a safe space that we have here. So, no judgment. We just want to share with you what God has given us, and hopefully that'll be something that will help you along your way in your relationships, in your marriage. And again, that's MTC with AA at gmail.com. There it is on the screen. And hopefully we'll hear from you soon. So you guys take care. Have a great weekend. Happy Father's Day in advance to the fathers and those who are celebrating on this weekend. I know there's a lot coming up. There's graduations. There are, different things that's happening. So we pray that God will bless you and cover you and enjoy on this weekend. And I know that there are some who have lost their fathers, and maybe they're coming up on the anniversary of it around Father's Day. So we pray for your strength as well. And we'll see you soon. And until next time, get a marriage temperature check. Take care.